Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I hope you all of you in the good condition. And we all come from group 8 in the subject of philosophy of science with the title is Revolution and Rationality. The first, let me introduce myself. My name is Lucy Erfiona. My partner is Sim Sodalin. Right now, I will focus to explanation about the revolution. So let's move to another slide. Based on the revolution, it's based using from the Thomas Kuhn. Thomas Kuhn thinking is a rebellion against the paradigm of the positivism. Kuhn's ideas are very radical and have contributed greatly to post-positivism and postmodern epistemology with pluralism of the scientific paradigms. So in my understanding about the way of the Thomas Kuhn thinking, I make a conclude is that Thomas Kuhn is very familiar with the structure of the scientific revolution. It's considered the monumental work of the development of history and philosophy of the science by presenting the concept of paradigms as a central concept. A scientist, according to Kuhn, must be expert his file to find a puzzle, to solve the puzzle, to see what the real network inside, and then what the theoretical and or the methodology conceptual which is needed for solving the puzzle of science. And then Kuhn's argue that the change in science is called the scientific revolution, and Thomas for the term paradigm and scientific revolution finding attached or the style of the thinking Thomas Kuhn. So the Thomas Kuhn is familiar with scientific revolution and paradigms. So what is the paradigm and scientific revolution? In my understanding about the scientific revolution is drastic change in the stage of the scientific development. The paradigms that can occur in the part or in the whole of the new paradigm. The change of the scientific paradigm will result on the emergence of the differences between the old paradigm and the new paradigm. Paradigm here is divine, a pattern, such a model, scheme, and the certain understanding of new reality being studied. Kuhn used the three types of, that is the metaphysical paradigm, the social paradigm, and the construct paradigm. So this is about a paradigm. What is paradigm? Paradigm is based on the view of the subject matter of the science that define what should be studied and what should be discussed, what question arise, how to formulate question, and how rules to follow in the interpreting the answer. And then about the paradigm, we move to paradigm transition. So how can be the paradigm transition? I have three kinds. That is the new pattern, update, and contradiction. Why I said there is new pattern, because I see this is their way of thinking. There's one new of thinking. There is one new problem that when you use that the old paradigm that very unless, so we should leave that the paradigm and the update. When we have a new paradigm, we should believe the old that. So you can use the new if we're leaving the old. And the contradiction, it will be always the contradiction about a new paradigm. The new paradigm will be always be past of the response with the suspicion and hostility. Talking about the paradigm, there is 6 of the kind. The first one, positivist, post-positivism, critical, constructive, postmodern, and the sociology. So let's begin. The first one is this positivist paradigm. For positivist paradigm is the theory must be universal and objective, believe the object outside of us, the same as we have in mind, and with some language, the theory used to explain it. And so between the mind and mind, it must be same with the language that we use to explain it. In the post-positivism paradigm is physics and mathematics that criticize the positivism paradigm with argument that differ from the assumption in the post-positivism, ontology, epistemology, and methodology. For the critical literary paradigm this is talking about the critical attitude, like a social culture, intellectual, how it's the condition of society, modern science, the scientific work, critical theory produce the related paradigms, ontology, epistemology, and methodology assumption. And then how about the constructive paradigm? This is such a social interaction. This paradigm will provide an open space of the study of gender, cross-colonial, identity, art, language, local culture study, and multicultural. So how about the analyzing postmodern? This is talking about the truth. It's really related with development of new technology or information technology. Talking about the development of information technology here has changed our perspective, our way to see something, and how is science and culture is called postmodern. And the last one is sociology. Sociology has a big veil. It's largest social institution. Attention is paid. It's social fact and they affect individual and their action. Can be used using questionnaire, interview, and historical or comparison method. So everyone that is explanation about the revolution and the next presenter about the rationality will be continue with my partner that is Sim Sodalin. Ah.
Hello, my name is Sim Sodalin. So I will be talking about rationality in this presentation. So let's start with the definition of rationality. According to Aristotle, he defines the definition of rationality as the key term which differentiates the human beings from animal. And also, we can also say that rationality is the quality which is based on logic or truth. So that is we call rationality. And the picture down here, what do you guys think? You can see a brain and heart. So we are going to talk about types of rationalities. We also will be talking about the rationality or irrationality. Okay, so let's move to the next slide. All right, so these are the four types of rationalities. The first one is practical, second one is theoretical rationality, third one is substantive rationality, and the fourth one is formal rationality. So let me explain you about practical rationality. It describes how people accept the realities we are calculating the most useful way. For example, if people are facing the difficulties in their daily life, they would consider which thing that they can apply for coping the difficulties in their daily life. Or you can say that tasks or activities done in a practical way. So that is called practical rationality. Second one is about theoretical rationality. We used to answer the question, what is the case? Or, in an easy way, it is used to understand the word deductively and inductively. Third one, it is substantive rationality. Another types of rationality that we discuss about the way people choose the right or wrong thing based on value or morality. All right. And the last one, formal rationality, is quite different from the third one because this will be based on the rules or laws when people decide to choose whether it is right or wrong. So, for instance, if somebody is asked to decide or to choose the right, whether it is right or wrong, that person is based on the rules or laws. So you can say it is in the type of formal rationality. Alright, next slide we'll be talking about rational and irrational. So based on the goals of speakers, writer, or goals themselves, we can figure out whether it is rational or irrational. And also there are two main rational models. The first one is goals of science and sets of principle. Okay, to make sense and give enough evidence, we can say it is rational. And I would like to mention the two things is that the internal to the individuals and the external to the individual. Why do I need to mention these two factors? Because these two works in the way people or a person decide it is rational or irrational. So the internal to the individual we refers to background knowledge, we refers to uh, preference, we refer to their mindset or their mind. So if they decide whether it is rational or not, it is based on it can be based on the inner, I mean something inside themselves, can be their preference, their mind, their knowledge. And also if we talk about external to the individual, it's like they depends depend on the something inside, something inside them. It could be rules, it could be laws, it could be other factors outside, so that they can decide whether it is rational or not. And I would like to show you guys three questions here. Question one: in what does the rationality of science consist? Number two: what is to count as evidence or good reason for some scientific hypothesis or procedure? So I would like to explain this based on my study, my research. Uh, it says that these two questions are failed to distinguish or to differentiate. Some philosophers said they are different. Some philosophers said they are the same, and it's hard to figure out. There were argument between this, and the third question is actual science, contemporary or historical, rational in fact. So these three questions are commonly asked in the field of rationality in philosophy of science, and I would like to come up with the conclusion of these three questions and also our point. So conclusion, the rationality of science consists of the epistemological actions for discovering the rational reasons. And to consider it is an evident or good reason, it requires the strong commitment of supporting that evidence and rational reasoning as well. And the last one, epistemological activity is counted as the core in making sense or giving the rationality in science, even though some philosophers claim that it is not. So this comes to the last of our presentation, and thank you so much for paying attention. Thank you.